Hello students, I hope you are all fine and in good health. In this audio presentation, I will be discussing the short answer type questions related with the chapter The Address. So dear students, let's start. Let us come to the first question. It is written, how did Mrs. Doling react when the narrator said that she was Mrs. S.'s daughter? That means when the narrator introduced herself to Mrs. Doling that she was Mrs. S.'s daughter, how did Mrs. Doling react after hearing that? So dear students, let's come to the answer part. Mrs. Doling held her hand on the door as if she wanted to prevent it opening any further. Her face showed no sign of recognition, but we know that she had recognized the narrator, but she pretended that she had never seen the narrator before. She kept staring at the narrator without uttering a single word because she was shocked. She couldn't believe that the narrator survived the Second World War. So initially, she kept staring at the narrator without uttering a single word. So dear students, now I am moving on to the second question. The question is, what two reasons did the narrator give to explain that she was mistaken? Very important question. Now let's come to the answer part of this. She thought that the woman was not Mrs. Doling. She had seen her only once for a brief interval, and that too years ago. Secondly, it was probable that she had rung the wrong bell. It can happen, she thought initially that maybe this is not the right place or maybe this is not the right house, because she had only previously once met with Mrs. Doling, and it was after a brief interval of time, and that also after many years later she once again decided to interact with Mrs. Doling. Maybe that was the reason the narrator thought at the back of her mind that probably she came to the wrong address, or maybe she came to the wrong house. Now dear students, I am moving on to the third question. The question is, how did the narrator conclude that she was right? The woman was wearing the green knitted cardigan, or you can say sweater, of the narrator's mother. The wooden buttons were rather pale from washing. She saw that the narrator was looking at the cardigan. She half hid herself again behind the door. Her reaction convinced the narrator that she was right. Now, when the narrator saw that Mrs. Doling was actually wearing the green knitted cardigan that actually belonged to the narrator's mother, that particular sweater that she was wearing, that confirmed the narrator that she came to the right house. And the body language of Mrs. Doling was very suspicious. She decided to half hid herself behind the door, and this peculiar suspicious nature and behavior of Mrs. Doling convinced the narrator that she was totally right. Now I am moving on to the fourth question, dear students. The question is, what was the outcome of the interview between Mrs. Doling and the narrator? The interview was a flop as far as the narrator was concerned, because she was not allowed inside the house. Mrs. Doling refused to see her and talk to her in spite of the narrator's repeated request. Though the narrator repeatedly requested to interact with her, repeatedly requested to give her some time so that she can actually have a conversation with her, but Mrs. Doling was not at all interested. So we can say initially when the narrator went to meet with Mrs. Doling for the very first time, it was a flop show because the narrator was not entertained by Mrs. Doling. Mrs. Doling even decided not to talk with her. So now, dear students, I am moving on to the next question, question number 5. The question is, who had given the narrator the address? When and under what circumstances? So who had given the narrator and when that address was given and under which circumstances was it given to the narrator? We all know this by this time that the address was given by the narrator's mother to the narrator. So let's come to the answer part, dear students. The narrator's mother had given her the address years ago during the first half of the war. That means the first half of the Second World War. The narrator came home for a few days and missed various things in the rooms. Then her mother told her about Mrs. Doling and gave her the address. Now the narrator came and saw that many of the expensive, precious things were found to be missing. Obviously, she got a bit curious and decided to inquire about those things from her mother. Then, in reply, her mother told her that all those things were taken by Mrs. Doling. That was the very first time the narrator got to know about Mrs. Doling, and most importantly, he got to know about the address of Mrs. Doling also. Now, dear students, I am moving on to the next question, question number 6. The question is, what did the narrator learn about Mrs. Doling from her mother? Mrs. Doling was an old acquaintance of the narrator's mother, and Mrs. Doling renewed her friendship with the narrator's mother. As you all know, I repeatedly had told to you all earlier, not for the sake of friendship, but in order to acquire all her precious belongings. The latter had not seen her for several years. Then she suddenly turned up and renewed their contact or renewed their friendship. Every time, surprisingly, Mrs. Doling left that place, she took something with her. Sometimes it was table silver, sometimes antique plates, etc. That means, as I had told to you all earlier, that she used to come with an empty bag or an empty basket, and when she used to move out of the house, the bag or the basket is to be full of precious things. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 7. What reason did Mrs. Doling give for taking away the precious belongings of the narrator's mother? Mrs. Doling suggested to the narrator's mother that she should store her belongings at a safer place because of the World War II. She wanted to save all her nice things. She explained that they would lose everything if they had to leave the place because they were Jewish family. The narrator as well as her mother, they were rich Jewish family, so they might lose everything, and if those things were kept in that place, those things will be destroyed. So Mrs. Doling told the narrator's mother that she would save and she would take care of all her nice things, because she explained, as I told right now to all of you, that the war might destroy everything. So on the contrary, she decided to save those things. But we know her real intention, that illegally and unlawfully she had taken those things from the narrator's mother, and she decided not to give those things back to the narrator's mother, because she knew at the back of her mind that the narrator's mother won't survive the war. And that was the reason when the narrator met with her, she was shocked and irritated by seeing the narrator, because she thought initially that no one had survived from Mrs. S's family. Now, dear students, I am moving on to the next question, question number 8. The question is, what impression do you form of the narrator's mother on the basis of our conversation with Mrs. Doling and the narrator? That means you have to throw some light on the nature and the character of the narrator's mother. So, dear students, let's continue with the answer part. The narrator's mother was a kind-hearted, generous and liberal lady. She was fond of collecting valuable things. She is more worried about the physical risks to Mrs. Doling than losing them to her. She thought it an insult to tell her friends to keep those things forever. She was very innocent and she was exploited by Mrs. Doling in the name of friendship. And she never ever thought of being manipulated, but we know at the very end also we realized that she was actually exploited mentally and manipulated by Mrs. Doling in the name of friendship. Now I am moving on to the next question, question number 9. See, dear students, it is written, did the narrator feel convinced about the views of her mother regarding Mrs. Doling, and how do you know? So, dear students, two questions are being given side by side. So, let's come to the answer part. The narrator did not feel convinced about her mother's concern for Mrs. Doling because she doubted the real nature of Mrs. Doling, but she couldn't argue with her mother because her mother blindly trusted Mrs. Doling. The latter was keen. Keen means very eager, very curious on removing the precious possessions of the narrator's mother to her own house. It seems that the narrator did not like Mrs. Doling's excessive interest in her mother's belongings. It is evident from the question she put to her mother, because Mrs. Doling's behavior, antics, all those things were very doubtful and very suspicious. The narrator's mother, she was so innocent, she couldn't understand that, but the narrator doubted the real intention of Mrs. Doling. Now I am moving on to question number 10. Very important question number 10 is also. Question is, what does the narrator remember about Mrs. Doling as she saw her for the first time? Mrs. Doling was a woman with a broad back. Even the same physical structure was noticeable in the case of her 15-year-old daughter. She also had a broad back, but unlike her mother, the daughter was a bit kind-hearted. She wore a brown coat and a shapeless hat. She picked up a heavy suitcase lying under the coat rack and left their house. She lived at number 46 Marconi Street, and every time she used to visit the house carrying an empty suitcase, and while she used to move out of the house, that suitcase used to be full of all the precious things that actually belonged to the narrator's mother. And she used to live at Marconi Street. The house number was 46. So 46 Marconi Street, that was the address of Mrs. Doling. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 11. Another important question. The question goes like this. Why did the narrator wait a long time before going to the address number 46 Marconi Street? Why did the narrator waited for such a long time? Initially, after the liberation, she was not at all interested in her mother's belongings lying stored there. She was also afraid of being confronted with things that had belonged to her mother, who was now no more. Now that was the reason she took some time, and after that she decided to embark on a journey to 46 Marconi Street to meet with Mrs. Doling. But initially she was not so confident going to Marconi Street, 46 Marconi Street, because in that particular place her mother's belongings were kept, and she felt a bit uneasy initially, mentally also, to be confronted with those things. But later she made up her mind and decided to go to that particular address. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 12. The question is, when did the narrator become curious about her mother's possessions? When for the first time the narrator became very curious about her mother's possessions? So the answer goes like this. Dear students, the narrator became curious about her mother's possessions as normalcy was restored, or rather to say, normalcy returned in the post-liberation period when the Jews were liberated. She knew that those things must still be at the address, that is 46 Marconi Street, as it was been told by her mother once. She wanted to see them, touch and remember. She doesn't want to do anything else. She just wanted to see them, touch and remember. She never ever was eager to take those things back, but her real motive or her real intention of visiting 46 Marconi Street was that she wanted to see those things, she wanted to touch, and also she wanted to remember those things. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 13, and here I quote. The question is, the quoted line is, I was in a room I knew and did not know. Very important line. Says the narrator in the story The Address. What prompted her to make this observation? That why she made this sort of an observation that the room was very familiar, but at the same time it was a very strange and an alien place to her. Now what made her what actually made her to say this? What was the real reason behind it? What prompted her to say this? The narrator found herself in the midst of things she was familiar with and which she did want to see once again. However, she found them in a strange atmosphere because the things were kept in a very rough manner, not in a proper manner. We can say it's poor maintenance, as I already repeated earlier. So the things were kept in a very strange atmosphere, in a strange manner, where everything was arranged in a tasteless way, or we can say in a tasteless manner. The ugly furniture and the damp smell created the feeling that she didn't know about the room. The damp smell and the ugly furniture led her to feel like that she was in an entirely strange place. But having said that, the things that were kept in that particular room, those things were familiar to her. But the damp atmosphere of the room, the tasteless way the things were kept, led her to feel disturbed and disgusted. And most importantly, she decided to move out from that place at the earliest opportunity. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 14, and here I quote once again. I just looked at the still life over the tea table, says the narrator in the story The Address. What does she mean by the still life, quote unquote? What prompted her to make this remark? That why the narrator remarked still life? Why so? By the still life, The narrator means the things over or kept over the tea table, such as the tablecloth, teapot, cups, and spoons. The reference to antique box and silver spoons prompted her to make this remark. Now, when she saw the antique box and the silver spoons that actually previously belonged to her family, those things are actually the prized possessions of her dead mother. So when she saw all those things, she made a remark like that. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 15. The question is, how was the narrator able to recognize her own familiar woolen tablecloth? Very important question. Let us come to the answer. The narrator first stared at the woolen tablecloth. Then she followed the lines of the pattern, that means the design and everything. She remembered that somewhere there was a burn mark which had not been repaired. Okay, there was a burnt mark near the edge of the tablecloth. Remember, it was not been repaired. But Mrs. Doling promised to keep all things properly and safely. But it seems that she also haven't repaired that burnt mark. At last, she found the burnt mark on the tablecloth. This helped her to recognize her own familiar article. Actually, now that familiar woolen cloth, now how she recognized? She recognized by that burnt mark that she found near the edge of that woolen tablecloth. And that made it clear that it was the same woolen cloth that they used it previously. Now I am moving on to question number 16, dear students. And quote unquote, you only notice when something is missing. What does the speaker exactly mean? What examples does she give? The speaker says that one gets used to touching one's lovely things in the house. One hardly looks at them anymore. It is only when something is missing that it is noticed, either because it is to be repaired or it has been lent to someone. Now, when the things are at our ready disposal, we don't pay much attention to those things, no matter how precious and costly those things are, because we are used to seeing those things every now and then. But the most important thing is that when those things went missing or goes missing, then it seems that we become serious, and when we find those things again, then we become more cautious about those things than we used to be before. So this is a very important line. It is only when something is missing that it is noticed, either because it is to be repaired or it has been lent to someone. So that is something that is very, very important for us to note. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 17. The question is, how did narrator come to know that the cutlery they ate of every day was silver or was made of silver? Once the narrator's mother asked her if she would help her polish the silver. The narrator asked her which silver she meant. Her mother was surprised at her ignorance and replied that it was the spoons, forks and knives, that is the cutlery they ate of every day. But at that time, the narrator was never ever serious about all these prized possessions. But now it seems that she was more serious than ever. Why? Because now those things are not with her. Now those things are with Mrs. Doling. I am moving on to question number 18 right now, dear students. The question is, why did the narrator suddenly decide to leave? What was the reason? The narrator had visited 46 Marconi Street for a specific purpose. And what was that? To see her mother's belongings and also in order to touch them. However, these objects seems to have lost their value and importance in strange surroundings, and on being severed from the life of former times. Now this is very important, that those things that was very preciously and kept with lot of care and kept with lot of perfection by the narrator's mother, those things were kept in a very haphazard manner, and those things had lost their value and importance, and it seems that neither Mrs. Doling nor her daughter was much familiar with the importance or the value of those things. Now, dear students, I am moving on to question number 19. Very important, this question is, how did the narrator reconcile herself to the loss of her mother's precious belongings? That means how she reconciled in her mind related to her mother's precious belongings. The narrator felt that her mother had not only lent them for safe custody, and Mrs. Doling was not to keep everything. On seeing these objects, memories of her former life were aroused. Okay, because nostalgia, it seems that again the memories related with her mother, particularly related with her mother's precious belongings, came in her mind. She found no room for these precious things belongings in her present life. So she reconciled to her fate, because it is not possible for her to staff or to accommodate all the precious belongings in her one room flat. So she decided to forget about those things. Now I am moving on to the last question, a very important question. The question is, of all the things I had to forget, that would be the easiest. It's a very ironical statement made by the author. Which thing would be the easiest one for her to forget? 46 Marconi Street. But it is a very ironical way it has been stated. We can presume that it will be the hardest and the toughest thing for her to do. So now let us come to the question part. After the quoted part was been recited or told to you all, now let us come to the question part. The question is, what does the speaker mean by that? What is the significance in the story? That here stands for the address. The words number 46 Marconi Street, that is the address, recurred throughout the story, because see, as I told you, the title is very appropriate, because the entire incidents, okay, the entire story, everything revolves around the address. The address is important for the narrator at the beginning of the story. However, at the end of the story, she was determined. She had already taken a resolution at the back of her mind. She already resolved to do what? She already resolved to forget the address, as the only reason was that she wanted to break off with the past and move on with the present into the future. She wanted to lift off the burden of responsibility and sadness from her mind, and she decided to start her life in an entirely new way. She decided to move on with the present situation or with the present circumstances into the future. And she wanted to leave out the past memories. She wanted to lift the burden from the of past from her shoulders, and she wanted, her real intention was to move on with the present into the future. So that is it, dear students. Kindly go through this audio presentation, and if there is any doubt anywhere, let me know about it. Thank you, students. Thank you all.